Hi, Jocelyne. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. How was your week?
Oh man, it was crazy, trying to juggle work-life balance, but we made
You're
it.
still working from home, right? Since COVID.
Yes, I am still working from home. There's no plan to return anytime soon, but even working from home, at the beginning I thought it would be easier because you're working from the comfort of your own home.
Mm-hmm.
But it still presents its challenges, right? Especially if you have
I'm sure.
family at home with you and all that.
You
So
watch TV in between. I promise your boss is not gonna watch this.
I gotta be honest, I probably did a few times where I would
So,
take like a Netflix break and then go back to work. Yeah, I did it a few times.
okay. So thank you for coming and doing this with us.
Thank
We're
you.
just gonna ask you first of all, who is Jocelyne Mamvou?
Mm-hmm.
Or I know Mamvou is your spouse name, so
Mm-hmm.
people may still know you as Jocelyne Tiencher.
Yes.
But who is this lady I have here? I know you are a pharmacist, but you are a corporate pharmacist.
Yes.
As a Cameroonian,
Mm-hmm.
from where we come from, most time when you hear pharmacy, it's like you work in a pharmacy. So
Yeah.
this corporate pharmacy thing about, like, what is it?
Mhm. Yeah, so for those who don't know me, yes, I go by Jocelyne Mamvou now, but yes, maiden name before was Jocelyne Tienchu. And yes, I'm a clinical pharmacist within the United States. I work for one of the big insurance companies
Okay.
as a clinical pharmacist. So yes, it's very deep. Hold on, pardon, attends, l'enfant.
It's okay.
Attends.
Sometimes when we work from home too, it's not easy. You have things like this happening. It's part of real life. So I try to be accommodating as much as possible because sometimes I may be having an interview right now and you can hear somebody calling by the door like, mommy, mommy. Those are one of the challenges that we have when we work from home and when we have little ones who are also at home. And most especially when you don't have your parents around or the help that we usually have back home. We have to juggle all that at the same time. So can you imagine keeping a full-time job and having a little one crying, whining, asking for you, and you're like your boss is talking to you right now and giving you instruction or waits for a report from you or expects you to respond ASAP. And you have this baby also asking for your attention ASAP. You know what? That's the time to just be like, divide yourself into. No, I'm kidding. Most time what I do is just husa. I just started this new thing called meditation, which is good. It doesn't take long. It's all about breathing, breathing, and breathing. So you inhale with your nose, you block. So I inhale with my nose. I blocked it for about 5 seconds, and then I exhale. So I breathe all out. So if you try that a few times, for me, what it does is it calms me down. And I'm
Must
just
not
telling everybody that that's how we have to juggle things these days. Like
Yes.
sometimes you have a call and you have a child with baby. My husband too had that before. He was on a call
Yes.
and then he didn't know, but
Mhm.
everybody could hear baby shark because our little one just walked in the office and she had her baby shark. So everybody was quiet. And
Yes.
somebody just said, am I hearing baby shark?
That's the juggling of working from home is that you have to care for family, care for work, care for yourself. So you're a mom, so you understand.
I think it's harder. because when you're at the office, at least you
Yeah.
can do things differently. You can
Yeah.
focus
You can
on
focus.
your babies are taken care of either by daycare or
Yeah.
something. But when you have to be everywhere, I
Yeah.
don't know how you have to focus here and then focus there and make
Yeah.
sure everybody gets the part of you that they expect, from you. So,
Yeah. No, it's tough, man. And you did it for three kids, right? Like
yeah,
juggling between all of them.
I'm
So you're a
still,
veteran.
you're talking in the past. I am still doing it.
I know.
So God help us all, because if this COVID
Yes.
doesn't come back to our rescue, whew.
Yes.
So you're
Yes.
talking about clinical pharmacies, and you
Yes.
said you work for an insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So
Um,
explain to us. I'm trying to be like anybody back home. If you see somebody in the street, you
yes.
come to pharmacy, they expect it to be a pharmacy to go.
Yeah.
What is clinical pharmacy, man?
Okay, so yeah, like I was saying, for those who don't know me, yes, I am Jocelyne Mamvou, clinical pharmacist, and I work for a health plan in the United States. So, yes, like you say, in Cameroon, when I was in Cameroon, the idea of pharmacist that I had is that you work for what we call here a retail pharmacy. So that's what I knew of, right? You either working in a retail pharmacy, you own it, or you either work in a hospital environment as a pharmacist. But when I came to the United States, I saw that there was a variety. There's a lot more a pharmacist can do, right? So besides working in a retail pharmacy, or in a hospital environment, pharmacists can also even work in a health plan, which is what I do. So, yeah, as a health plan pharmacist, there's a lot you can do depending on, like depending on like if you work within like formulary team, which is like the team that takes care of like deciding which medication is going to be at what tier. So we have different tiers in formulary, right? And different tiers have different pricing, right? So those formulary pharmacies, for example, decides that, okay, we're going to place this medication in tier one. It's going to pay $0 for this patient. Or there's this upcoming medication in the pipeline. Where do we think we should place it on the formulary, right? So we have that dedicated team of pharmacy. We also have pharmacies that take care of patient care, and that's kind of what I do, right? So weekly we have rounds with nurses, case manager, doctors, where we discuss high risk patients. So those are the patients that get readmitted to the hospital a lot. And so we kind of put all of our skills together and decide, okay, what is the best care that we can do for this patient moving forward. And it's really nice because you have, the pharmacist input, the nurse's input, the doctor's input, and it provides a holistic care for the patient, right? So you have that patient management side within the health plan. That pharmacists can do. And there's a lot more that pharmacists can do. Honestly, I'm just touching on the surface, but I talk about my experience. Besides even patient management, I also work on projects like cost saving opportunities for the health plan, which necessarily doesn't require your clinical well, it kind of does, right? Require your clinical skills as a pharmacist, because you have to be able to decide, okay, where can we save money to the health plan, but at the same time, how does it benefit the patient? Because it's not all about saving money to the health plan, but it also has to be, how does it benefit the patient? And so you put those two skills together, and you work on projects such as cost saving, formulary opportunities, and so on. So there's a lot that a pharmacist can do within the health plan. And even besides health plan, I know pharmacists that are also lawyers, right? So, for example, I'm pretty sure you heard of people who, like, for example, abuse a medication, or there's a medical error that happened, and so the patient sues the hospital or the health system. And so they usually take pharmacists as a consultation, on a consultation base for those type of cases. So yes,
Oh
you
wow!
know,
So there's so
yeah,
many avenues when you're in
they-
pharmacy, basically. It's
yes, in the US,
I
yeah,
feel like I feel like it's becoming more broad for a lot of a lot of sector because I feel like
Mhm.
even just like doctors, you have
Yeah.
doctors, pediatrician, gynecologists,
Exactly.
even lawyers now. You don't just have to go and become a barrister and go to court. You can be a
Yeah.
clinical lawyer these days. So
Yeah.
pharmacists have all those different opportunities.
Aspects, yeah. And there's also a lot more now of pharmacy. There's even a lot more pharmacists that I've seen recently become entrepreneur, right? So you have pharmacists that are opening their own consulting business where they're able to apply their clinical skills, but also talk about lifestyle, right? Because especially in the US, like you see a lot of patients, the big struggle is lifestyle, diet, exercises and so on. So I do see a lot of pharmacists even that are becoming nutritionists, opening consulting businesses, setting on their own, and then providing the best care that they can to the patient. So yes, it's very broad, honestly, and it's really also encouraging and exciting because that tells you you don't have to fit in one box, which is what I thought before I came to the US, is that, okay, I either have hospital or retail, and those are it. But, going through school, I found that there's a lot more avenues for me to explore.
That's pretty good, actually. I didn't know that. I might
Yeah,
do it now. But before I decide if I want to become a pharmacist, I want to ask you,
yes.
where did you start your journey?
Mm-hmm.
Was it here all your life, or were you in Cameroon? Were you in other countries? Like,
Yeah.
where did you go? And in
Mm-hmm.
Cameroon, what did you learn? That
Mm-hmm.
did you learn something there that helped you where you are today? I mean,
Mm,
some people will say discipline. Some people will say, "Oh, I had to work twice hard because school is hard in Cameroon." I heard all kind of
yeah.
answers. So if
Yeah.
you study anywhere else, please let us
Mm-hmm.
know and tell us what you learned or what you grasped from that time that helped
Mm-hmm.
you become who you are today.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one thing definitely, yes. So I did my high school in Cameroon, finished it before moving here. One thing that I would say that I definitely learned in Cameroon, I don't know if it's learning Cameroon, but one thing, I grew up in an environment where, parents were really hardworking and really how can I even say that, forward thinking, hardworking, very disciplined, right? And growing in that type of environment, I always knew that those are key elements, not necessarily the only one, but they are kind of like key elements to success. So it's something that I took with me when I came here, and throughout my high school, I always been that hardworking student, very disciplined. When I put my mind on it, I'm able to focus on something. So that's something that I came to the United States already with, right? I won't say necessarily I learned it in Cameroon, but that's something that I took with me here to the US. And so when I came to the US, yes, my mind was already focused on pharmacy, right? Given the background with like my parents, my mother owning a pharmacy and so on. So my mind was already set on
So you
pharmacy. I
wanted to be
just
like
didn't
mom,
know.
basically.
Huh?
You wanted to be like mom.
Yeah, but my mom is the role model. Your first role model when you come on this earth is her that you look up to first. So, but like I said, I didn't know the variety of options that a clinical pharmacist can have here in the US. Yes, I came here. I study chemistry, and so I did a bachelor in chemistry while I was kind of taking prerequisite to get into pharmacy school. And I also wanted to have a bachelor also, just in case that, pharmacy plan A doesn't work. I have a plan B. I can always work in a lab as a chemist. And I was really passionate by science, to tell you the truth, since high school, because I did the scientific series, right? So I was always good in math, chemistry, and all those scientific subjects. So when I came here, I studied chemistry and I really liked it. I was really passionate about like experiments, chemical experiments that we had in the lab. It was really fun. And I remember one of the experiment was even how to make Tylenol. And I had no idea that, oh man, this can be really as easy as this.
That's
So
a good thing to keep in mind. Now I know. If you are broke, we'll come to your house. You better make time for us. I know what you mean.
exactly. So that's definitely something that I really love like the chemistry part. And so yes, I took my prerequisite classes to get in farm school. I got my bachelor. When I did my bachelor, I did a gap year, what we call it here, a gap year, where I basically work, still taking prerequisite to get into pharmacy school. So it took me 5 years, from when I came to the United States, till I actually got into pharmacy school. So yes, now I got into pharmacy school, and that's where I learned about all of those options. Because one thing they do here in pharmacy school is that they invite speakers that are already pharmacists from different fields. And throughout the 4 years, we had, pharmacists that were lawyers, pharmacists that work in the pharmaceutical industry, in the hospital, retail. We have pharmacists that were nutritionists, pharmacists that were entrepreneur. I mean, I saw all the possibilities that were available to me, right? And I decided, for me, one of the most important aspects is that I want to be able to have interactions with patients and have interactions with provider, right? And so that already kind of narrowed down what path of pharmacy, what path I chose. So during the last year of pharmacy, for those who don't know, we have what we call clinical rotations, where you choose basically your rotation sites. It can be hospital, it can be an insurance company, it can be a variety. They give you a list. And so during my rotations at my current company right now, that's actually where I found out about managed care, which is, pharmacists working for like health plan or like managed care organization. And so I really liked it. I really like we have a preceptor, which is kind of like your mentor during the rotation. And I really like what she did, because she was working in a clinic, but she had that interactions with the patients, long-term relationship with the patients, because they came there every time to see their PCP. And she also had a relationships already with the provider. And so I was like, that's really what I like, because it gives me the both patient perspective and then both provider interactions. And I really loved it. And that's why I decided to continue within the managed care system.
So, you are brave. When you laugh a lot like this, you're always laughing like, but nobody will take you this seriously. But you do so much, so much. You should clap yourself. Well done.
Thank you. I probably forget to clap myself
No,
sometimes.
you need to. And I feel like a lot of people do forget that. We go about our days every day, but we forget the little achievements.
Yeah.
My neighbor, thank God, I like her so much. She
Yeah.
reminds me sometimes, like when we talk, and I'm like, I went for a walk today. She said, well, that's one thing more than I did today. So if I said I folded laundry, she was like, girl, you did something. Good job.
Yes.
You kept your children alive. That's great.
Yeah. You did a fantastic job.
In the back for that. So you wanted to become a pharmacist. What you are doing now, you are in the job, and knowing what you know about our original country, which is Cameroon.
Yeah.
Don't people do that over there? Are those avenues not open there, or are they still very closed? Because, we have insurance. Do they work with pharmacists? Do they work with doctors instead of pharmacists? Or, what is the difference that you see in your own view?
Yeah. At least from what I know, I can. So there's a different system, right? Here we go by the English system, but in Cameroon they go by the French system, which is very different. And I don't honestly know the intricacies of that system, but I know there's also a lot of bureaucracy, right? Like you are not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do this as a pharmacist or as a doctor. From the conversations that I had there with local pharmacists, when I try to pick their mind about like what else can a pharmacist do, right? Besides retail and hospital, it seems like there's a lot of obstacle on the way that are there because of the way the system is,
License,
right?
okay.
Yeah, exactly. So the system is already placed in a way that a pharmacist can only do this. A doctor can only do this. And so I think that's kind of why, and yes, we have insurances company and all that there, but I think the fact that the system already, places certain restrictions, kind of prevents also even like pharmacists from branching out because we are not encouraged by the system to kind of branch out and venture out and do other things. So at least that's my understanding, right? And I know you also know some local pharmacists there, so maybe they have a better understanding of it. But at least when I talk to them, that's kind of like the understanding that I have is that there are some restrictions that are already in place that kind of no, I won't say prevents you, but it won't allow you to do as much as guess as you want. If I can say, yeah.
I see what you mean. So, because when I think about it, what I know from pharmacists, most
Yeah.
of the one I've been to,
Mm-hmm.
they will have their pharmacy, but the most thing that they extend to will be selling like beauty products and things like
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's pretty sad because
Yeah.
from what you just said, there's so
Mm-hmm.
much opportunities. There's
Yeah.
need.
There's a
I'm
need.
happy
Yeah.
to go to a pharmacy. I'll feel better if I
Yeah.
go to a pharmacy that will help me with my nutrition plan, for example, because they know what they're talking about. They're doctors.
Yeah.
They know
Exactly.
the medications. They know what is inside, what it will affect.
Mhm.
The impact that it will have on your body, etc., etc. Rather
Yeah.
than people go astray, like you're just gonna go and buy something. Somebody will sell you a tea. Oh,
Mhm.
this will snatch your waist, and you look yeah, and then you go and buy it, and you have
Yeah.
no idea of what it does.
Yeah.
I was talking
Exactly.
to another lady pharmacist the other day, and she mentioned
Mm-hmm.
how baffled she is
Mm-hmm.
about product that people sell on internet these days.
Oh
They
yeah.
sell you things for your, I'm sorry, but your VJJ cleaning,
Yeah.
da, 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 da. I'm like,
Yeah.
and they'll put things in there, and she's like,
Yeah.
she had to go and Google, and she's a pharmacist.
Yeah.
Never heard of it. So she had
Yep.
to go on Google,
Mm-hmm.
searching,
Yeah.
try to understand what the heck,
That's what it is. Oh,
But people have been buying and buying and buying.
mm-hmm.
So why would we do that to ourselves?
And that brings the point of education, right? Because as pharmacists at we're also one of the key healthcare provider to really educate the population, right? And like you say, I take the example of Cameroon, right, where a lot of the population, I want to say, I don't want to say ignorance, but I can definitely see that we can have an impact on the education part, right? Because I feel like if you empower the populations to kind of know more about their health and how to like take care of themselves, a lot of diseases can be prevented, if not all, right? And so, and you bring also the point of there is a lot of products that are out there and even fake
No
medication,
regulation, nothing to
right?
control them.
Exactly. And so,
Tell you water right now and tell you that this water will make you fair. Like that's why my complexion is this clean,
yeah.
and people will buy it.
Yep. And so and that's where I also see the key role that pharmacists play. And I believe local pharmacists are already doing that, right? Where they counsel the patients that come to them, and whether it's about medication or even lifestyle as a whole, right? As a whole. But I think also, for example, like here you also have like pharmacists that are nutritionists and that are, setting up their own firm, right? Their own consulting company where they kind of know they kind of, decide how they want to run their organization, how they want to do their work and all that. But it's something that necessarily I won't see happening there, because they can tell you, for example, by the law, as a pharmacist, for example, cannot just set up a business and start, telling this and that. So those type of restrictions is what I was kind of talking about. But there's a need. You just mentioned it. There's a need where the population that needs to be educated, right, about like the diet, the lifestyle as a whole, and medication, and also disease state and so on. So there's definitely a need, but I think the fact that there are restrictions kind of like prevents people, or discourage even people for taking an extra step. But also I have to mention that now with the internet, right, and the digital era that is not, that we are in now, that also opens door, right, for for example, even local pharmacists that are feeling restricted, because now they can use internet platforms, right? We have YouTube, we have Facebook, Instagram, and so on, and kind of, own their channel and really direct it the way they want to direct it, right? Without being restrained by some type of system.
And I
Yeah,
think I've seen some of them are doing that already. They're trying to be a little
yeah,
bit more present on social media, because
yeah,
social media has its good, but also its bad. So they are using that.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
hope it works, because I feel like
Mhm.
there's so much need, and
Mhm.
so many gifted and talented
Yeah,
professionals in that
yeah,
industry that could make our
mhm.
life so much better.
Yeah,
Instead of having
exactly.
people continuously battling and getting a bad care for their health,
Yeah,
that's killing us inside.
yeah,
If
exactly.
I'm asking you now, think
Mhm.
about, I don't know which Jocelyn you want to pick. It could be college Jocelyn, teenage Jocelyn,
Uh,
whoever. What would you like her to know
mhm.
then
Yeah,
that you know now? Like, what would you wish she would
yeah.
know then that you know now?
So, I want to say, okay, so when I think back about like especially my academic, journey, when we come to the United States, there's a lot of things that you don't necessarily know that the, American citizen here already know, right? And so one thing I definitely found that if I were to kind of redo things, is that I'll probably get into other, how do you call it, like other majors besides chemistry. Although I love chemistry, don't get me wrong, but I see like I see where things are going, and I definitely would have chosen, for example, a different field while I'm getting ready for like pharmacy, right?
Like which one?
Huh?
Like which one, for example? What other field?
Computer science is one that is definitely worthwhile. I feel like right now the opportunities are endless for that type of industry,
Okay.
and I'm not saying that I've gone in computer science, no, but I feel like it's a good background to have.
I've taken another class, few other classes, different
Yeah,
classes.
exactly. I was definitely like taking some computer sciences classes. I would have taken also finances classes, business classes, because at the end of the day, I would like to be I would like in the future to be an entrepreneur and work for myself. And I definitely think the business skills are needed. So and that's something that I will do differently. I will tell my teenage, I guess, self,
Your younger self, because
my youngest self, not
younger
teenage, my youngest self, to definitely work smarter. Because one thing that I realized is that it's not all about hard work. That will get you up there, right? You have to work smarter, and that's something that I found along the way. Um, and so, yeah, I guess those are the few things that I would do differently. But honestly, for me, like, if you know me in life, I don't have any regret. It's like you learn, right? You learn as you go. And when I'm talking about, for example, computer science class and stuff, those are some classes that I plan to take in the future, right? Because now they have Coursera, they have a lot of online platforms where you have
Certifications and even
exactly.
over, yeah, yeah.
Exactly, where you have those classes, and I don't necessarily need to go and get an as an MBA specifically, right? And I'm not saying those who do it's bad, no, but it's just like I feel like I can learn the necessary skills that I need to learn from both experience and even from those classes. So I think those are the few things that I would do differently. But hey, we still have a long life ahead by
Amen.
God's grace.
Amen. Let me just ask this. You say work smarter, not
Yeah,
harder.
yeah.
So, do you have an example of something that you want to do and that you feel like, okay, this could have been done smarter instead of
Mm-hmm.
all that energy
Mm-hmm.
this way, for example?
I mean, if you take the
People don't always understand what it means work harder or
yeah,
work smarter, you know?
yeah, I would just take a plain example, and that I observe in corporate America since I've been working is that you can have people who kill their butt and just work like extra hours, and like let's say working 60 hours per week, and you yourself like you can be that person, and you see another person who probably doesn't do as much as you but is getting ahead quicker than you, right? And so
Mhm.
and that's why you understand that, okay, it's not all about the degrees, it's not all about
The hours
your
you have.
skill. Yeah, it's not all about that. There's more to that, right? And especially what I've noticed in corporate America, I don't know about other things, but other society, and that's something I notice here is that it's not all about just working hard. When I say you have to work smarter, is that you have to kind of pay attention about, like, for example, how people get ahead in the company. It's not necessarily the skills and all that. Is that people also know how to sell themselves, right? They know how to,
Relationship network.
even if they don't know what they're saying, it sounds like they know what they're talking about. They're the master, the expert in that, right? And so that's what I'm saying is that you can have someone who probably even doesn't have a bachelor degree, who doesn't necessarily have all the skills that you have, but because they're able to sell themselves, they get up there quicker, they network with the right people. And, all of that is what I basically call like you have to really work smarter.
I think I see what you're saying because
Mhm.
in my discussions, there's also an example of people saying, you never know who you encounter. So make sure that everything you do, make yourself notice.
Yes,
No, make sure
yes,
they notice you. Make sure you're noticeable because you never know. You,
yeah,
you might be the person that serves coffee but serves it well, and then like, oh, I remember this guy. While this one has been the manager of something, he's been doing 60 hours. Nobody
yeah,
cares.
yeah.
You're just doing your job. There's nothing extra about it.
Yeah,
So,
and it's funny because in Cameroon, network is also a thing, right? You have to know people
mm,
to to get to certain places. But I feel like I don't know why, but when I came here, I feel like it's like necessary. I
mm,
don't know. Maybe in Cameroon it's also necessary. Don't get me wrong, but I never experienced it. I guess firsthand in Cameroon. Here I experienced it firsthand, right? And so and I would say even like as an advice to other girls, it's like don't be afraid to reach for the best, right? Whether it's in terms of school, whether it's in terms of positions and opportunity. Because here, one thing also I found out in the United States is that, right, those top 10 schools and stuff, my father used to always talk to me about top 10 school, and I was just like, yeah,
mm.
Dad, you and your top 10 school. But I found out the value of those schools though, because you build a huge network with those schools. And that is something that I underestimated, right? You definitely do. I mean, even if you go to those schools and come out with like a 2.5 GPA, the network that you were able to build, right? That you're able to build in while you're in the school and even after you graduate as an alumni, that's huge, right? And that can take you to a lot of places
That's
after.
what makes the difference with all the other places, the normal colleges and universities.
Yes. And
It's
I
like in
remember
Cameroon. Most people who end up from what's that university in Yaoundé, Lakato,
Lakato, yes.
most of them usually
Mm-hmm.
are good. And
Yeah.
they find employment,
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, They're
Mm-hmm.
pretty smart too,
Yeah.
good education, but they
Mm-hmm.
also have usually a network that goes with it. Compared
Exactly.
to somebody that will just go to I don't know what university, like I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, Douala,
Yeah.
a little bit push, a little push,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
get ahead, or
Yeah.
even though sometimes those they are big universities, but
Yeah.
it's all about standing and network. No, you're right. You're
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's something I'll definitely tell myself is to don't be afraid to reach for highest,
because
right? Because I think me one thing that kind of like and it's not to say that now don't try to reach for the highest, but I remember as I was fresh here in the United States, you always have that humble side of you who's like, don't try to be too much or try to kind of like don't try to just be too much, just be your own in your
slowly,
flow.
easy, easy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember there were when I was applying to, I think it was pharmacy school. Yeah, when I was applying to pharmacy school, I remember seeing the number one pharmacy school back then was UCSF, University of San Francisco. And so I remember seeing it, but I was like, I don't know if I'm, qualified because it's the number one. And, you start already having those negative talk in your head. And, but you nothing says that you are not capable, right? And I don't know if it's a women thing or what it is, but at least I know that whenever you see a big opportunity or whenever you see something that's like that hasn't been reached before, you always kind of self-doubt yourself, right? And I don't know if it's something you experience, but I noticed that. And yeah, I would definitely tell my younger self that whenever those like, self-negative talk comes, like talk
Love it.
yourself out of it.
Love
Because
it.
you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe you are the best. You have to believe you have what you have to get up there.
No,
Yeah.
that's true. You just advised me right now, and I'm not your young self. I'm
Yeah,
not
my big
ready.
sis.
I had a talk with because I went back to school for another diploma, another degree the other time, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Mm.
One of my uncles was like, you know what? Harvard. He said Harvard. It said Berkeley. I was like,
Yeah.
mm,
I know. Yeah.
mm, mm. Like, mm.
Like me.
I was like, you know what? You can go to law school. I was like, law. I can definitely relate with what you're saying, and
Yeah.
it happens to a lot of people for
Hmm.
different reasons, you know.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
think your advice is pretty good, and I think I hope you'll reach out
Hmm.
that many can relate to it and remember to try. Because
Yeah.
since then, my new mantra, that's mine. I
Hmm.
go by, I have nothing to lose.
Exactly.
How I go about things now. Before
Yeah.
I do something, I'm just like, what do I have to lose?
What do you lose?
I don't
Exactly.
have my life to lose.
Hmm.
Well, I tried.
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
what I'm doing right now. I'm no journalist.
Yeah.
Me, I don't know what it's
Yeah,
going
you're already a journalist in the
to
making.
there, and I'm doing it. So we'll see. I believe in it, and I'm giving it a try. So that's my new mantra.
Yes.
So when you talk about the way we work these days, when you look at Cameroonian ladies,
Mm-hmm.
you see the way we are doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Now you think about the way your mother, like the past generation,
Mm-hmm.
the way they were doing things.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think we are doing better
Hmm.
if you think about it? And what would you like to see us do more?
Us like our generations.
Yeah, like us, the next. Like, what do you
Mm-hmm.
want us African Cameroonian ladies to do more in the future? That you think that, well, right now maybe it's okay, but we need to do a little bit more of X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
we have done better. Like
Yeah.
some people told me, oh, we have this entrepreneur spirit now, because our
Mm.
mothers, they used to have their career and they used to be it and home. Now we are too aggressive. We want career, we want business, we want homes, we want this, we want money, we want this, we want that. So
Mhm.
what do you think?
I mean, is a different generation, right? And like you mentioned entrepreneurs. So for me, it won't even be that because my parents are both entrepreneurs. So it won't apply to me. It's a different generation. And I think everyone also has like different background, right? Um, I definitely, your question is like a good question, but I feel like you can answer it like so many ways. Is there like a specific domain where
You
where
can
you
be in any
ask
way
the
you want
question
to.
like what are we doing better in like what term, like what domain, or is it just in
Whatever
like
comes to your mind, there's no right and wrong answers to this one.
oh you're on mute, Liz. I can't hear you now.
No, I'm
Can
saying,
you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, but I can't hear you. What happened? Hold on. Let me make sure that my microphone is
Can you hear me now?
let me make sure that my microphone is the one that's
I didn't touch anything.
oh my God, technology.
Computer science
Give me
class.
one
Can you
second.
hear me now?
Because the Bluetooth headset that I usually use are on now, so I'm wondering if that's where
Yeah, if it's on, that means I'm
to.
talking to your Bluetooth set. So you need to turn that off. Turn your Bluetooth set off.
Huh? Oh, I can't hear you at all. Hold on. No, no mute. Okay, microphone. Okay. How about now?
Me, I can hear you.
Oh, I still can't hear you. Audio input, audio output. Okay, I can hear you now.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, were you able to hear me?
Oh, yeah, we
Okay.
all heard you. You definitely need to take that computer science class.
It's in the process.
Oh, don't worry. I've had no, believe me, I've had moments, I had interview like this. We did a
Yeah.
whole interview
Yeah.
and we recorded nothing.
Oh Lord.
I know. I was
Those are the worst.
that day.
Yeah.
I was literally in tears. Like I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this is so not
Hmm.
professional. How am
Yeah.
I going to tell the person that it didn't capture anything?
Yeah.
I kind of knew the person a little bit
Yeah.
closer, so I had to be like, but those things are happening, and that's what this
Yeah.
platform is about. Like, I don't want people to feel too stuck up or anything. I
Yeah.
want people to be
It
real.
has to be, yeah, it
The
has to
plan is
be
for real women to talk to other real women.
yeah. Hmm.
We're all Cameroonian. Whether we live here in Cameroon, we have
Or
different
wherever. Yep.
and we can bring something to the table.
Yeah. So yeah, I was asking in when you were asking what do you think our generation is doing better than our parents' generation, I was asking, is there a specific domain you're talking about or
I'm
like
leaving that up to you. You can choose
hmm
when you think.
okay.
I just want you to tell us what you think. In which domain? I don't. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm,
Answer
mm-hmm.
the question is not restricted.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
right or wrong answer.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, I definitely think, and when I say our generation, I can only speak for the diaspora, right? Because I'm more in touch with like the diaspora than people who live locally in Cameroon because I feel like they might have a different perspective. Um, I think yes, we're definitely more I don't want to say more entrepreneur, but we venture out, I guess, more, right? In terms of like even when I look at the diaspora that's going back home, and trying to implement new ideas and so on, even work with their parents. I always see that clash with the parents' generation and our generation in the sense that our generation, and I'm mostly speaking again from the diaspora, we went out of the country, right, for a lot of us, and we've seen different things. We've seen the way things were done somewhere else, right? And we try to that opens your mind first of all to even new ideas, new perspective, and so on. And I think the clash that I usually see with our generation from our parents is that they usually even the ones who travel, they usually stock up on the ideas, right? Like if you come to them and tell them that, okay, how about we do this and that, and they'll be like, I don't think this is gonna work. I don't think this is gonna work. And they might have a point, right? Because they're local and they know how the system runs.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about that open mindset,
Fine. Yeah.
being able to explore different ideas and stuff. It seems like their generation, it's kind of a little stuck on their ways, and that's what has worked, and that's what we're gonna continue to do. And so I do see our generation and the diaspora generation being a little open in terms of like venturing out, go out of your comfort zone, and so on. So I do see that more in our generation. In terms of what can we do better? Better than we're already doing now.
Hmm? There's always room to improve, right?
Huh?
There's always room to improve.
Yeah, there's always way to improve. I don't know. Let's see. Let me take a stab at it.
You can keep that in mind, and if you have something coming up, we can come back to it. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because the next question I'm about to ask you actually is in
Uh-huh.
industry, the pharmaceutical industry you're in. Do you
Mm-hmm.
feel like women have to work harder? Is it like one of those industry where you have male domination? Do you feel like it's a male dominated environment, or do you feel
Mm-hmm.
women are kind of like almost equal? I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, I will try to come back to your question, right? But
That's
for the
fine.
pharmacy industry, I don't see it as actually okay, let me say it. I don't see it as being male dominated in the sense that I don't see, for example, more males being I actually do see more females being pharmacists than male. I feel like when I think pharmacist, I first think of a female pharmacist. And I may be wrong. I don't know why, but that's what I'm thinking of. I know a lot of female pharmacists. And I don't know the statistics, but I definitely don't feel like it's male dominated in the sense that you have more male pharmacists than female, but I have to check the statistics. But now when you go to the corporate world, it's a different thing, right? In the sense that if you work in a patriarchal company or society, right, you still have, I feel like you still have it can still be easier, if I can say, for like men to get male to like get ahead, right? Because when you think about a female, when I remember when I had my first baby, I started to think about maybe as a manager why you wouldn't necessarily maybe promote a woman instead of a man, because sometimes we have to manage family.
Mhm.
And so you will call maybe out because
The
daycare
baby
is
is
calling you, so you have to come and pick up the child. Next 2 weeks you're calling out because I don't know, something happened with the kid. I mean, there's just so many things that can happen. I feel like coming from the female side, that I don't know if we'll say will prevent, but you have that, they have that image, right? That, okay, with the women, she's going to be busy with the kid and so on. And not to say that as a mom, you cannot get on, at the top of
yeah.
the company. There are some sacrifices you have to make, obviously, but I'm just saying that I can see as a manager, like if I were to promote a male and a female now, when I became a man, I can understand now why I would be maybe leaning more towards like the male, right? And it's not to say that that's the right way, but I can understand the reason.
You see why they're
I
doing that
can see why. Yes.
as an handicap. I mean, what
Uh,
else? What else can we do? If a woman decides to have children, it's part of men can't bear children, can they? So
no, they, they,
I mean, let's be honest. Somebody
yeah.
has to carry the children, and that same
Mhm.
somebody needs to
Yeah.
have the time off to be able to
Yeah.
do what they have to manage. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
society,
But yeah, but I should say from my own experience though, I definitely didn't see being a woman, and I pretty much have a unique experience because contrary to a lot of people here in the United States, I personally never felt like, oh, I'm handicapped, or I didn't get this because I'm a female or because I'm a black female, right? I never felt that way. And maybe instances like that happen. I don't know, but I never personally
experience.
experienced it firsthand, right? To be like, oh, this is the reason why. And maybe it happened, I don't know. But That's why I'm saying my that's my opinion. Someone else will have a different opinion, but I personally didn't feel like because I'm a black female, I cannot necessarily get to the next level or so, right? Because I do know black females within our company who are in, the top management, right? So yes, and the United. When I think of the United States as a whole, I really love the country because I feel like here, when you're able, there's definitely opportunities to get up there, right? When you have the skills and all, but obviously I won't underestimate or downplay the part that color plays, the part that being a female plays, because that definitely plays, right? I will probably have a different opinion if I experienced those things firsthand, right? Yeah. So I just want to say, I guess for the pharmacy industry, I definitely don't see being a woman or being a black female play, yeah, as a challenge, and that's from my experience. But if you speak to other people, I mean, I know other friends who have experiences, who probably didn't get where they wanted to get because either they were female or they were black female, and they will have a different opinion than what I experience. So,
So we're almost at the end, but I still have
mhm.
a question for you.
Why can't we do better? Why can't we do better?
Just keep thinking about it. It's okay, but we're almost at the end, and I still have a few questions for you. I need to get this one out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jocelyn have does Jocelyn have bad moments? Like, do you have moments where you are down, where you see that nothing is working, where you don't know your left to your right? And if
Yeah,
you do, how
yeah.
do you cope with it? I always,
Mhm.
and these people are gonna get tired of hearing me say it. Me, I like to cry. You
Yeah,
know, I cry a good, and in who's
yeah. They realize.
I have friends who say they drink. Other
Yeah,
people say they work out. Somebody mentioned Mamvou's workout. I say,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
People have different ways. Other people say they like to pray. Other
yeah.
people say, how do you cope?
Yeah. Everyone has down moments. I know a lot of people always tells me I laugh a lot, and I think sometimes the laugh for me, when I self reflect, and I ask myself sometimes why I laugh a lot. I think for me sometimes laughter is also a coping mechanism, right? To not maybe face something that's like hurting me or whatever. I will laugh it out. But yes, we have our down moments. If I definitely cried.
Me
Who
too.
hasn't cried? I mean, we are 30 something years old. You definitely have cried at some point in your life. So, crying, yes, releases it definitely helps because you have to be able to acknowledge what's going on, and it helps you just release every negative emotions you may have, right? But one thing I also do is that I do a lot of self-care activities. You know me for that. When I say self-care activities is facial massage. Whether it's at home or like outside of the home, I do a lot of those because during those time I'm able to just be with me and I'm able to be in the quiet, right? And just not think, not do anything and just be with me and present in the moment. So those self-care activities definitely help me balance, kind of like maintain my, if I can say, my sanity.
Mhm.
Yes. And then also I do also I want to say meditate slash pray. That's definitely something that's very dear to me, and I feel like if I was missing that in my life, when I think about the time where that was missing in my life, it was a whole different time, but it definitely brings me more peace, right? I value so much peace. I value more peace now than I did before. Right before we're young and going about our life, but now it's like I don't know if it's the fact that you pass the big 30, but you can tell me maybe it's different. But peace for me, it's everything.
Paramount. I always tell people, if up here I'm good, I can
Yes,
do a lot.
exactly.
I'm not fine,
Yes.
I can't. Brings me to my next question. You
Yeah.
work full time. How old is
hmm
your baby right now?
8 months.
You have an 8-month baby.
Yeah.
You have a big baby in the name of God. How do you juggle it all with COVID coming? And did COVID
Yeah.
do more work in your
Yeah.
work? Do you have more work because of COVID now? Or
Um,
struggle working from home, taking care of
mhm.
baby? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure you have baby on one hand. I'm sure if I twirl your hand
And
back,
then computers. See, maybe you'll see
you know,
computer.
exactly, the computer is here, the baby's there. I do that from some
Yeah.
time. Like I had a baby right there by my
Yeah.
side, and I'll be on the computer. So how do you do it? Is
Yeah.
how do you manage?
No, it's tough. Even this year is still tough. So I
These
mean,
COVID babies.
huh?
The COVID, that's how I call them. All the babies who came from last, like who
Uh,
were born between last year and this
the
year,
COVID
are all
babies.
COVID babies.
Yeah, no, last year was specific. It was a lot tough because first of all, we didn't know what is this thing, right? Like, and I think still today, like, there's still a lot I don't know, but everything was just like, man, how do we move on now that, okay, this is here? How do we proceed? And, I took a time off, obviously, when the baby came and all that, but working from home, like I was telling you, doesn't necessarily make it easier because you still have the baby here. You still have to juggle work. You have to juggle three roles. I always say the wife, the mother, and you, Jocelyne, right? Who you are. And I mean, I try. Even still today, I still try, right? The most of the day when the baby is awake is the wife role. I mean, the mother's role. When the baby goes to sleep, it's wife and Jocelyn role that take over, right? And if I'm by myself, I usually try to find at least an hour where I'm by myself and where it's just me, right? Because like I told you, I needed to maintain my sanity because a lot has changed last year, right? Family, COVID came, everything changes. And so I found that it was important for me to make sure that I maintain my sanity so that I can be I can be there and present for my family, right? And so I always make sure I found an hour for myself, and that hour can be anything. It can be anything I want to do. It can be a little bit of social media. It can be a little bit of learning something new. It can be listening to music or
Going out to
listening
buy ice
to,
cream.
huh?
Going out to buy ice cream.
Yeah, I had that. I had those on the weekend. On the weekend, I usually have ice cream walks, and yeah, it can really be anything I want to do that is me and pleasing to me. And so that's how I'm able to maintain it because you can't really function just as those other roles and forget who you were before those roles came. Otherwise, at least for me, I know I will lose it. And you will probably lost it. I lost it at some point, and you probably know too. Knowing that you have now three kids, you probably lost it at some point, and you realize that no, it's important for my sanity to be on top.
I think
All right.
anyone who lives away from home or from
Mm-hmm.
home and
Yeah.
says no to little family helping or
Yeah.
going out,
Yeah.
know the role of keeping sane up there. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not
Exactly.
easy having your children, especially if it's your first and you're dealing with it with no mom.
Mm-hmm.
Back home we have that support.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
COVID, things have become tougher because people can't move around and
Mm-hmm.
people are even in other states, they can't come to different states. It's just become
Yeah.
really tough. Do you
Yeah.
have something to tell our community concerning
Mm-hmm.
COVID, being from the health department?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to say something about it? And
I mean, uh-huh.
your advice to any woman like our other Cameroonian women? Like, what would
Mm-hmm.
you tell them?
Mm-hmm.
To just
So,
help them feel good about themselves or, make them keep going or I don't know. What would
yeah.
you like to tell them?
Yeah, so regarding the COVID question, I mean, the only thing I would really say, because I won't say that I have all the answers, that just make sure you do your research. Because as you know, since we found out about this, it's like a plurality of information that's out there, and it's just like, where do I turn to, right? And so I'll just say, make sure you do your own research, looking at trustable, reliable sources, and make your own decision, your own judgment, right? Because that's the best advice that I can say. I'm always big on education because everyone can come and tell you their own, but I feel like you have to do your own part and your own research and educate yourself. You always in charge of yourself. So that's what I would say about the COVID. Be careful out there. Regarding communities of mom, young girls, women, Cameroonian women in general, and I'm speaking also to me, is that I would say, first of all, you're doing great because I feel like I needed somebody to tell me that at one point. You as a woman, I feel like you juggle a lot and you don't, like you were saying at the beginning, you don't pat yourself on the back enough for the work that you do. And I'm talking about a stay-home mom, career mom, wherever you are, young girl, everyone, pat yourself on the back because you're already doing great. You have so much potential in you. You just really have to believe in yourself. First, believe in yourself because everything starts here, right? Because if here the mindset is not right, I feel like how can I, yeah, limited somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can be if you place your own limitation, you can blame the system, whatever. But if you already place limitation in your head, it's already a problem. So believe in yourself. Believe in the potential that you have, and sky is the limit. Keep reaching for whatever is the best for you. Because that's also the thing. A lot of people sometimes say, yeah, keep reach for higher and higher. Higher and higher is different for different people. It's different for different people. And sometimes when you don't reach the higher that's defined by what society says higher is, you start feeling bad. So I would say, no, follow your dreams, whatever is the best for you, the higher for you, go and reach it out. Don't underestimate yourself, really. So yeah, I just want to give that voice of encouragement because I know I also speak for myself and we all need that, right? And I want to say thank you, Liz, because I think you're doing something wonderful for the community. When you told me about this project, I told you this is amazing. We don't necessarily I haven't seen it out there, right? And so I think you interviewing all women from all walk or Cameroonian women from all walk of life is definitely going to empower young ladies and even women's in their 50s, because who say that when you're 50 you can start over or you can do something new, right?
I mean, that's the hope I have. I'm just hoping that by
Yes.
having random conversations with
Yeah.
ladies about their
Hmm.
journey, the way they feel, the way they
Yeah.
cope
Hmm.
with the situation, about
Yeah.
the industry. You might
Hmm.
talk, somebody wants to be a pharmacist tomorrow, might see you today looking all glad and pretty and say, I want to be like Jocelyne. Or
No.
somebody like me, actually. Now you make me feel like that pharmacy business is a good industry.
Right.
You have a career change. Listen,
Yeah.
COVID
And
is
it's
here,
possible.
okay? People are jobless. So we might
Yeah.
have to change careers. I can
Yeah.
become a pharmacy tomorrow. And
Hmm.
I'm not the lawyer pharmacy. I have some legal background. So
Yeah.
you
Right. You put
know,
those two together.
nothing
Like
is
I said,
impossible. I'm on
yeah.
the way.
Like I said, there's honestly nothing that can stop you. Like if you put your mind to it, I feel like believing in yourself is one of the biggest first step, right? And like I say, age is just a number, right? Because I know also from my society, sometimes we say, oh, if you're already 50, that's it. But we know a lot of people here, you and me, that kind of turn their life at 50, 60 years old, right? So,
Never late.
yes,
Never late.
yeah. Yeah, there's always a hope.
Never late. Okay, but thank you so much, Jocelyn. I'm not going
Thank
to hold
you.
your time. We went a little
Yeah,
bit overboard, but I appreciate you. I thank
thank
you for
you.
coming and finding a little bit of time in your busy schedule for us.
Thank you. And I
Have a
appreciate you
lovely
too.
day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.